So how would you feel if your medical ailments, your bank details and your intimate text messages were available to buy for less than the cost of a couple of DVDs? A Channel 4 News investigation has revealed that two of the UK's largest pawnbrokers are selling mobile phones loaded with deeply personal information, despite telling customers they'd been wiped. As part of our Data Baby experiment into what happens to our data in an increasingly digital world, we bought a stack of old handsets. We found family photos, company passwords, hospital records, and much more, as Sarah Smith found out.
More than 10 million mobile phones are dumped, sold or recycled in Britain every year. Their owners clearly have no idea how much of their personal information can still be siphoned out of these used handsets. Information that's not just private, sometimes embarrassing, but also potentially very valuable. We've discovered that even if you think all your personal data has been carefully wiped from your mobile phone before you get rid of it, it's actually remarkably easy for somebody to extract from your old handset the most intimate information about you. If you've ever sold an old phone through a shop like CEX, you might not have realised that anyone who buys it could look through your photos, check your browsing history and read your text messages, even if you think the data has been deleted or you've hit the factory reset button. We've bought 3 second-hand phones from this shop in Cheltenham. They told us they'd completely wiped all the personal information off them, but we're going to put that to the test. The most secure location we could think of to take the phones to and have them analysed was Churchill's Cabinet War Rooms in London. This is the underground bunker that sheltered the great man and his cabinet during the Blitz. The rooms are exactly as they were left in August 1945, with the addition of some waxworks officers. These old Bakelite phones used to keep the cabinet updated on the minute-by-minute progress of the Second World War. This used to be the most secure telephone network in Britain, here in Churchill's World War II bunker, so it feels like the perfect place to bring all of our 21st century mobile phones and give them to Glenn, our tech security expert, see what secrets you can find hidden on there.
All right.
The phones did look like they'd been wiped, but in a matter of minutes, using software anyone can download from the internet, Glenn extracts an astonishing amount of very personal data from several of the phones.
So all we're seeing here is the output from the program that I run against the phone. So what it's telling me here is it's found over 5,000 files that's recovered from the device. What else have we got?
This phone obviously belonged to a teenage boy. We can read text messages to and from his girlfriend and see what he's been looking at on the internet.
Here we see his browsing history.
Oh, you can see what websites he's been looking at on the phone.
Managed to extract his browsing history, all kinds of, so mostly music, and then a whole...
On some sports stuff, which, yeah, we know he's into sports, so you would expect to see that. And some things he shouldn't be looking at.
A whole bunch of naughty sites. Go and find more information about.
On another phone, we found details of the owner's new email address and the password.
This was my favourite find. Here's a letter that she's taken a photograph of welcoming her to the company.
This is a photograph she's taken of a document.
Yeah, so she's taken a photograph. Welcome to your new place of employment. Your email address is this, and your password is that. Oops.
All written out there, photographed and now retrieved from the phone.
Yep.
From a third handset, we could build an intimate picture of the previous owner.
And to start things off, this is the previous owner's full name, so Denise Holder. And here's a photograph of her, so it's a selfie she's taken with this phone.
We can see the most personal details of Denise's life, pictures of her grandsons, details of her hobbies and medical ailments, as well as her full address, date of birth and the last 4 digits of her credit card.
Which, if we're going for the angle of identity theft or bank fraud, that kind of stuff's invaluable. So we know her exact street address.
That's a photograph of her house.
Yep, and there's a photograph of her house, so her exact house, she's in there, might even be her car.
Which meant we could invite ourselves round to show her what we found. We had warned Denise that we'd got some information from her old phone, but we hadn't told her quite how much. You'll recognise this, presumably?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. But thanks to this, I know a fair amount about you. How are you getting on with the knitting?
Fits and starts, yeah. Right.
Did you enjoy the trip to Legoland?
Yes.
Did you ever buy the Lego police station, though?
Yes. That is really quite worrying, really.
So we showed her everything we'd retrieved from the handset that she had been assured when she sold it would be completely wiped.
We have it saved on here, so let's have a look. And I don't want to embarrass you too much, but your TV licence payment was also overdue.
It's always overdue.
And what that tells us, the text that came telling you it's overdue and that you owe them £13, it asks if you want to use the credit card ending in these 4 digits.
Yeah, that's really worrying.
She'd even more to worry about when we showed her contact details, photos and internet searches.
Generally, I like life to be quite private. And don't want people to access, or things can be abused so easily. So you don't know.
That's why Denise specifically asked for assurances that the shop she sold the phone to, CEX in Cheltenham, would wipe all her personal data. They said they had.
As far as I was concerned, the phone wouldn't store that information. And it's all gone. Makes me quite angry at the people at CEX because they're providing a service and not doing properly.
CEX told us,
as technology evolves, so do our systems, and we're currently rolling out a new procedure that improves on the current erasing technique used in the second-hand phone market.
we also went to a branch of the well-known chain Cash Converters. 2 phones from this store yielded lots of personal data. Cash Converters told us,
we take data protection extremely seriously. All phones are wiped to a standard level and full factory restores are carried out. It is our understanding that specialist software may still be able to recover certain information stored on the phone. Following the investigation by Channel 4 News, we will be reviewing the procedures carried out at our stores in Islington and Colchester, and the stores themselves have started an investigation into the matter.
1 in 4 of us trades in an old mobile phone every year. And most of us are pretty unsure about how to effectively delete our private information first. Our data in the wrong hands is potentially embarrassing, but it could also be dangerous.
Phones now, people don't think about the value of the data on that. So there's a real criminal market for actually exploiting the data on your phones. Thousands and thousands of these phones are traded on a regular basis, and people don't appreciate their data still on that phone when they go to trade it on.
So how do you make sure all your personal data really has been destroyed? Even smashing up the handset might not do enough damage. There are programs you can download which will overwrite all of your data, and there are ways of double encrypting the phone. Or you could always just try hitting it really hard.
Sarah Smith joins us live now. Sarah, you've exposed the problem. What's the cure?
Well, the hammer method does work. You'd struggle to get any information off Denise Holder's phone now, but there are much easier ways of doing this. If you do want to sell your phone, the safest thing to do is to overwrite all of the data. If you delete it, it's not necessarily gone. If you overwrite it all with gobbledygook, then nobody can access it anymore.
That sounds a big job.
Well, that's easy enough to do. If you download some software from the internet to your computer and then connect the phone via USB, or if you go into the App Store, you'll find that some trusted suppliers do supply apps that will do this directly on the phone for you. If you've got an iPhone 4S or above, you don't need to worry, they're encrypted by default. And if you've got an Android phone, you can go into the settings and find a way of encrypting it, but it might make the phone run a little bit more slowly.
And is anyone going to do anything about the shops that sold us these phones?
We've spoken to the Information Commissioner's office. They say tomorrow morning they're going to get onto the shops and ask them how they're going to update their procedures to make sure they really do wipe the phones properly. But they also say we've all got to take responsibility ourselves for our own private data. We've got to do what we can to make sure it's being kept safe.
Sarah Smith.